Good morning, everyone. I started a tech startup a few years ago, and we were solving for poor-fitting, uncomfortable earphones. We were after people who complained, my earphone keeps popping out of my ear, or my ear actually hurts me half an hour after wearing an earphone. And when you look at this chart with 1.5 billion earphone users, and half of them complaining of fit, the market was sizable. If only a very small fraction were willing to invest $10 and who could afford $10 to solve their problem, we'd be selling more than $1 billion every year. The reason why people struggle with this is ears are unique. They're like fingerprints. No two ears are the same, including yours. Your left and right ears are not the same. And what really we wanted to do was to upgrade your earphone, improve your fit, improve your comfort, and deliver a better audio experience. And the way we did it was through an app that you download on your phone. Using your smartphone camera, you take a video of your ear. We received these images, took specific measure points within the ear, and through a digital fabrication process, made your custom ear tips and shipped them out to you wherever you were in the world within a week. We raised $2 million, set up the company, set up the solution, set up the brand, and went ahead and failed. Okay? So, going into this, I knew there was a high chance of failing. Actually, almost 9 in 10 companies fail as a startup. Okay? And our reason was we ran out of cash, and we couldn't keep going. And despite all the effort to raise cash, it was extremely difficult to do that. We couldn't build awareness, we couldn't drive trial, and we had to accept our fate. Failing was something that actually hurt. Failing was actually something that really stung. And failing is actually not something that is pretty. But we accepted the fact and moved on. And you will realize, actually, if you haven't yet, that during our life, we all will fail at some point. Failing is inevitable. Okay? And the best way to manage failure is to, before I talk about actually how to manage failure. Sorry, just give me a second. Hey, thank you. Before I talk about managing failure, give me just please a couple of minutes and I'll come back, okay? Sorry about that. I apologize for this. You'll know in a bit why I'm feeling a bit icky. But okay, so failure again. Thinking of failure. Realized we failed, and what do we do next? Okay, it hurt, it stung. What do you do next? You actually try to take lessons from your failure. And what you need to do is look at failure and try to understand truly what did you do wrong. Try to fix it immediately. If you can't, go away. Try to analyze what went wrong, and try to figure out what went wrong, and make sure that you will not repeat that mistake again. Okay, so failure, inevitable, it will sting, but don't let it go for nothing, okay? Take valuable lessons from it. That's not the only thing. Actually, it will make you better at what you do, right? For me, I started paying a lot more attention to really solving a pain point, not a nuisance. That was the key reason. I have to be frank with ourselves. You know, earphones dropping out of your ear was problematic for a very small chunk of people. To the majority, it was more of a nuisance. Okay? We weren't really solving a true pain point. The second point is keep an eye on cash flow. Right? Don't overextend yourself. Make sure that you plan to what you're doing. Now, beyond the immediate learning that you will get when you fail, there are some character traits that failure will actually develop for you. And I want to call out 3. This is the first one. Okay? This is the definition of adaptability. So we didn't immediately start with earphones. What happened is we set up a 3D printing bureau. We wanted to create some nice-looking, customized products that we can sell to consumers. Things like phone covers, like lampshades, and a very dear friend of mine who passed away last week was chasing me incessantly. He wanted a customized Iron Man suit. Okay? Ghalib passed away, and this talk is a tribute for him. I'm sorry I got a bit emotional earlier. Thinking about Ghalib. Now, moving on. So this is what we first tried to do. Then we realized that the technology was not where it really is and did not deliver the products that we wanted. And we needed to adapt what we were doing. So we started thinking, okay, the customization needs to serve a purpose, and the product needs to be functional. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. And at the same time, we were looking at small parts because big 3D printers cost a lot of money. So we wanted something small and something where customization was really meaningful. And this is where earphones came into the picture. We designed the earphone in Lebanon. We designed the sound together with a Spanish expert in Madrid. We went ahead and bought speakers from a Danish company in Copenhagen. We went and assembled the earphone in Shenzhen, in China. And then realized, oops, we can't compete on electronics with Sony, Apple, Jabra, and had to adapt again. This time, we focused on the custom ear tip only. So we would make the custom ear tip, you would retroactively fit it on your preferred earphone, and have your customized ear tip. Given we ran out of cash, we couldn't raise awareness, we couldn't drive trial, we had to adapt again and move from a consumer model to a business model. And the intent was, we want to deliver a service. We want to give the customized earphone service to established manufacturers. When you bought yourself a Sony, when you bought yourself an Apple, you had the option of customizing your ear tip. We actually got into a few discussions with 2 global suppliers. One was even interested to acquire us. Unfortunately, in the end, it didn't work out, okay? And we shuttered. Now, before I move on from adaptability, I want to leave you with a positive story of adaptability. This is Hanan Al-Hurub. Hanan won a global Best Teacher Prize and $1 million back in 2016. She did that because of her play and learn teaching methodology or technique. Hanan developed this teaching technique when her children were shot at by the IDF in the second Intifada. They were traumatized. They didn't want to go to school anymore. She had to adapt her method to manage and support traumatized children. Hanan and others in occupied Palestine and other places in the world adapted this methodology and delivered some fantastic results. That's Hanan for you. Now, let me talk about the second character trait, courage. Okay? So I decided to shut down my startup, and I felt I owed it to the investors to express or share the learnings throughout the journey. So I wrote down a document of what went wrong, and I shared it with them. Honestly, I did that also to bring closure to myself. And after I did that, I decided to publish it on my LinkedIn profile. Maybe someone out there might read it, learn a thing or two, avoid a mistake or two. What happened is the whole startup community, got into this document. There's a person saying he failed and he's telling us why he failed. Okay, and this article got promoted by different media. I started getting phone calls, being invited to conferences to speak about failure. Conference leaders thought, wow, you're courageous. In our part of the world, at least, not many people, admit to failure. They'll, pin it on luck, pin it on external factors, pin it on, X did that and Y did this. Okay? So I attended these conferences. It was fun. It raised my LinkedIn profile. I did a lot of connections. But my courage to write that article as well introduced me to my next employer. In one of these conferences, I met a company which later hired me and I'm working with. Okay? That's courage. Rami Malek, Egyptian-American actor. Rami won an Oscar, if you know, for his portrayal of Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody lately. But Rami, probably like many actors, didn't have it easy starting on. Rami obviously looks Arab, and his ethnicity did not help him land roles initially. But he was courageous enough to keep going. He actually even once got hired. He went, did his scenes, and then in the final edit of the film, they removed them all. But he had the courage to keep going. He even also once got approached for a role and he desperately was looking for a role, and he was turned down. And he actually turned it down. And he turned it down because he was supposed to depict an Arab terrorist. And it did not fit with his values. And he was courageous enough, despite the need, to say no. That's courage for you. The last trait I want to talk about, resilience. To keep going. To keep going. So, closed the company, joined the new one, fantastic, end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Unfortunately, this company is not in Lebanon, so I'm getting my work permit and my residency done, and what happens early 2020? COVID hits, and everything grinds to a still. I'm stuck in Lebanon. My team and my business is dispersed the world over. The shareholders are expecting results. They don't care. COVID, okay, COVID. But you still need to deliver results. So the challenges that I faced, like all of us, I was trying to understand the pandemic. I was trying to understand a team that I barely knew. I was trying to understand the business that we were actually in. We were trying to cope with, our first case of COVID at home. I was trying to understand teleconferencing. We all got a crash course in Zoom and in Teams, and we needed to operate through that. And, everyone was sitting at home, and a key core of the business was e-commerce. Everyone was ordering online. Our e-commerce technical infrastructure was poor. It was bursting at the seams. It was like we had to fix a jet engine in mid-flight. But we kept on. We delivered 5 times growth, first time ever profitability, and the team that worked there went on to deliver fantastic results. The camaraderie that was created during these tough times, they went on to deliver fantastic results, not only in 20, but in 21 and 22. J.K. Rowling didn't have it easy either. Repetitive failures brought out even more resilience in her. Her manuscript was turned down time and again. When she was insisting on this, she was going through a lot of personal difficulties. She went through a divorce. She was a single mother. She actually had a lot of financial issues. She was on welfare, but still, she aspired to be a published author. And of course, thank God she did. She gave us Harry Potter. Last thought for you. So, failure, ugly, stings, but you know what? It's a mindset of growth, a mindset of learning, a mindset of developing your characters. And you know what? It will still sting, but that sting will be way less. Thank you.